in this COVID environment, if you're not exercising discretion and being thoughtful about how you move, that conduct is detrimental to your cause and to ours collectively. And so that's the messaging that I'm delivering to those guys. We got to conduct ourselves accordingly. There's been a lot of work to position ourselves to be where we are right now. It's one fail, all fail in this environment. And so we're going to continue to package the messaging that way and be very transparent.
Hi, everybody. I am Missi Matthews. Welcome to another edition of the Steelers Virtual Roundtable. That was head coach Mike Tomlin this morning from Heinz Field, the start of Steelers training camp. A different location, a different atmosphere for sure due to the pandemic happening. And Coach Tomlin talked about his message to players, saying he's using catchphrases to remind them you have to do your part inside the stadium and also outside. So we will start with some housekeeping news and notes. Two Steelers players up to this point we know have been placed on the reserve COVID-19 list. One of them is a draft pick from last season, cornerback Justin Lane. Also, the second player is defensive back Arion Springs. Again, they have been placed on the COVID-19 reserve list. It does not mean they have tested positive. They could have come in close contact with someone who has as well. Also, a roster move to note: the Steelers signed running back Wendell Smallwood. He last played in Washington in 2019 and was a 2016 draft pick by the Philadelphia Eagles. As I said, training camp is underway at Heinz Field, and a lot of us are not there yet. I am here on the south side inside the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex, as I said. So let's kind of take you through what we know and what the players will be going through, that most all reported by Tuesday, and they're starting that process of testing. And then it will be a very slow ramp up to what we are used to seeing due to there being no off season this year. So the reporting dates that's taking place, the testing, as I said, a strict protocol agreed to by the NFL and the Players Union. Then that acclimation period that includes some cardio, some on-field work, but mainly the strength and conditioning. And then the ramp up period is where things will maybe look more like an OTA or mini camp. And then finally, contact integration period. To put that in simple terms, that will look like the real practices we are used to seeing at St. Vincent College in Latrobe. August 17th is when I will be allowed inside Heinz Field, along with Mike Prisuta, who is joining me now here on the Steelers Roundtable, as well, of course, with DVE. And we'll get to the fun stuff, Mike, that we'll be doing live from Heinz Field to bring fans an exclusive look into Heinz Field and what Steelers camp looks like. And also joining us today on the Steelers Virtual Roundtable is Bob Labriola with Steelers.com and Steelers Digest. And guys, it's weird. We're still all in different places, making it work as best as possible. And that's what Coach Tomlin preached this morning to the media, even offering to the media to try to do whatever they need, because everyone's jobs are a lot different and being handled in different ways. But of course, I think when you talk about Steelers training camp, Ben Roethlisberger, the person we have only seen in short clips of video on social media and then photos, we did see by team photographer Carl Roser got a shot of Ben walking into Heinz Field to report and start his testing process the other day. I know it's just a photo, guys, but when you first see Ben, what are you thinking? Labs, will start with you.
I can tell you what I'm not thinking. I'm not thinking what seems to be number one on the minds of most Steelers fans, and that is, does he look like a runway model? My first thought, my only consideration in terms of how Ben Roethlisberger looks is how the football is coming out of his right hand. And if that's working well, then in my mind, all is good with how Ben looks.
All right, Pursuit, are you thinking supermodel or are you with Labs here?
No, I hate to say it, I'm with Labs. I'll defer to Coach Tomlin, who said today that he's been throwing. The throwing has been going well. That's what I need to know. The off-season stuff, people thought he weighed 400 pounds when he was doing the UConn Cornelius look there over the winter. Now he looks like, as you say, a runway model. Labs, you remember a guy named Aaron Jones. You and I go back a ways. And Aaron Jones looked like he was sculpted out of the perfect football player block of granite. And he wasn't around here very long. Pretty much since then, I've stopped worrying about what guys look like, and I sort of try to put more stock in how they can actually, play football.
Or as the scouts would say about someone like that, looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane.
They would say that. They did say that.
The good thing is, guys, we did get a chance to hear from rookie wide receiver Chase Claypool today as well. He said he did have a chance to work with Ben this offseason a little bit at Robert Morris. Said the arm looked good. Of course, he admitted, I don't even know what prime Ben looks like. This is the only Ben I know. But we have heard positive things from other members of the Steelers organization. So I think time will tell. I know we're all itching to get to that portion of training camp where we are watching real practices. So we'll get there, I promise. It just might be a little bit of patience, something I don't think the three of us are very good at, but we'll try our best. So I did ask fans to submit us questions to get them involved and see what they're thinking about or maybe what they want covered for training camp. So let's jump into those and we'll kind of go back and forth and you guys can give your takes. So here's a good one to start with. Heather wants to know, what will you guys miss most about not going to St. Vincent College this year? I'm sure the dorm living. Prisuta, because you love the dorm living, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go there. I'll miss the dorm living. I actually like it. I like waking up and I'm at work, although for the last 4 months, guess what? I've been waking up and I'm at work. Normally that's not the case, but I like that somebody changes the wait a minute, somebody changes the sheets here too. I like the whole environment. I don't think I'm speaking out of school when I can reveal that it tends to get a little sophomoric in the dorms at times, and I'm not above that. I enjoy the camaraderie with my fellow media members and people who work for the Steelers. It's like a little working vacation, getting away for 2.5 or 3 weeks. I will miss Benedict Hall, Labs head. I swear to you, I'm being sincere here. I will miss it.
Labs?
Well, I mean, the dormitory living is not my favorite. I do like all of the other things, that kind of come with being on campus, the camaraderie, the fact that, everything is self-contained. And it also, it's kind of it gets you in the right frame of mind. I mean, that's training camp traditionally, was going away, and staying together in a confined atmosphere for weeks, or back in the 70s when they would play 6 or 7 preseason games in the summer, it was over a month, 6 weeks. But that whole kind of atmosphere, for someone of my age, it came to mean the start of football season. That's what you had to go through to get to the good stuff, meaning the start of the regular season, the games that count, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, this just doesn't seem the same to me. I'm not implying that the work won't get done or the product at the other end of the tunnel won't be as good, and maybe that won't be the case. But what I'm speaking about personally is it just doesn't seem to me to be training camp time, and to some degree, that's what I will miss.
Well, I will miss walking to breakfast, one place I never saw either of you at, but I like to go to get some coffee, an omelet that I did not have to make. The O-line was always there, the equipment staff was always there, and some of the coaches. So I did a little research, got to hang out with some of those people, and I will miss that for sure. So, but yes, it is strange, it is different, and we will move forward. It is a moving train, Labs. I think we should jump on it. Time to get to another fan question. This one is from Daniel. Who do you guys think will have a big camp this year? Labs, we'll start with you this time.
Hopefully it's Ben. I mean, this is usually my answer, to this kind of question every summer. And my belief is, and I really do believe this, that there's nothing wrong with your best players looking really good in training camp. A lot of times training camp is a time where, fans want to get excited about the new people or the young people. But my experience is that more often than not, the key to improvement from one season to the next comes from the holdovers. And, when you're looking at Ben Roethlisberger from last season to this season, he is not only as a holdover, but also coming off elbow surgery on his throwing arm. And so that's the guy that I hope has a big camp, because we've been through a regular season without him. And it's okay if we never have to do that again, in my opinion.
All right, Mike, who are you looking forward to having a big camp, or who do you think will have a big camp?
I don't know if he's going to, but I'm looking forward to finding out as it relates to Devin Bush. You know, we've heard Mike Tomlin ever since he got here talk about that jump that you make between the first year and the second year. And I thought Devin Bush was very good last year. I thought he pretty much arrived as advertised and justified the investment the Steelers made in him. But Mark Barron's not around anymore. I know Devin Bush played some dime last year. I suspect he's going to be the dime linebacker this year. He's going to have more on his plate. He's going to have to figure out how to compensate for a relative lack of size, since I'm assuming he hasn't gotten any taller since last year. They were working around that last year as it relates to pass coverage. I think he's got to be the hub around which that defense revolves. And I can't wait to find out how he does in year two. I think there's, again, a good year last year, but the Steelers are expecting him to play with all, or maybe not all pro, but Pro Bowl potential this year and really take a step forward.
All right, let's get to another fan question submitted to us for today. Preston wants to know, given the circumstances, what draft pick or rookie free agent do you think will be able to overcome the lack of preparation and make the biggest on-field impact in 2020 besides Claypool, who on offense in most teams' packages? To begin with, from what I've heard from Coach Tomlin. So kind of a two-parter there. Prisuta, you can take this one first.
I'll tell you, I think they have a chance, and I know there's been a lot of talk ever since everything got shut down with relation to the offseason program. Man, it's going to be tough on the rookies. Boy, you can't expect your rookies to contribute. And maybe not in the traditional sense, but one guy I'm going to have my eye on is Alex Highsmith. I think the Steelers really need a third guy at outside linebacker, not necessarily to be able to play the outside linebacker position, but to be able to give Bud Dupree and or T.J. Watt rest when they need it, give them a few snaps off here and there, and rush the passer. I think Alex Highsmith, even in this goofy time, can be coached up well enough and use his natural abilities well enough to give the Steelers 10, 12 pass rush snaps a game. And then the other guy would be Chase Claypool. Randy Fichtner, I thought, made a great point yesterday when he talked about Deontay Johnson last year. He was here, but he wasn't really here. He did next to nothing in rookie minicamp. He missed almost all of the OTAs. He was battling a hamstring. He admitted he was out of shape. He didn't really get things cranked up until training camp, and it turned out he had a pretty good year at wide receiver. Maybe Chase Claypool won't know all the nuances of all three wide receiver positions, but I don't think he got any shorter or slower, so he can still, in theory, run down the field really fast and make somebody at least cover him while he's doing it.
All right, Labs, I'm going to switch things up here. Let's get to another fan question. We'll let each of you take one just so we can get to more of them, to be fair. We had a ton that were submitted. This one is from Alan. Given the composition of the team and the early prospects of the salary cap going down next year, is this viewed as a must-win year? And would that impact the short-term development of younger players and long-term success of the team?
I got to be honest with you. I've never believed, certainly not in the NFL, the whole concept, two concepts. One being that a team is a player away from winning a championship, and the other being that, this is a particular season is a must-win situation, for a particular team. All the eggs in one basket concept to me really is counterproductive. I just don't believe in it. And so let me start with this, however. If the salary cap indeed is the floor is going to be $175 million, that's not good for either the league or the players' union. So what I believe has a chance of happening is I think that there can still be discussions between the NFL and the Players Association to somehow mitigate the damage to the salary cap that I think we're staring at going into the 2021 season. And by mitigated, I mean, let's just pretend that the revenue split would dictate a salary cap of $175 million. We'll just use that as a number. Then the next year, the cap is supposed to go up significantly with the negotiation of the new television contracts. You could have 17 games, then expanded playoffs, then the revenue could really shoot through the roof. So instead of having a big dip next year and then a big jump the year after that, I believe that there could be discussions between the sides where you kind of, soften the dip and moderate the jump. And so I think that there is a good chance that something like that could happen. And if it does, if saner minds do prevail, then I don't think you want to get caught up in the whole, this is a must-win year. We're not going to try and develop our younger guys. We got to go for it now, because then things could change, and then you put yourself in a bad situation for 2021. So I would play this year as it is, not worry about the cap next year, and hope that in between 2020 and 2021, saner minds prevail and some sort of an accommodation is worked out to mitigate the potential damage.
All right, thanks, Labs. Last question, Prisuta. This one is from you. This is from Heather again. Which position battle are you most looking forward to, and who do you give the upper hand to win the job?
Yeah, there's not very many to choose from. I guess you could count nose tackle, but the right tackle to me seems like the only up in the air starting position. I'll lean to Chukwuma Okorafor on that one, but I will say that I don't think the Steelers would have moved Matt Filer inside to guard and had him open up playing inside if they didn't think either one of those guys was a capable NFL starting right tackle. I'm talking about Okorafor and Zach Banner, the two guys are going to battle it out for that. If you had doubts that you were going to have a right tackle, you wouldn't remove a guy who played it very well last year when you have a very capable interior player in Steven Wisniewski available. I think Wisniewski opens as the top reserve, Filer at left guard, and I'll say Okorafor at right tackle and Zach Banner's the swing guy. But subject to change, of course.
All right, as I had said earlier, we are gearing up to the real practices, the meat and potatoes that you guys want to see. And Prisuta and I, we will be inside Heinz Field starting on August 17th. Prisuta, I know you circled that date on your calendar. We'll be bringing you Training Camp Live presented by FedEx, and that's going to be a live stream starting with the guys walking out. We'll show a little bit of individuals. We are going to want tons of fan questions and involvement in our show as well. So that will be something a little different to give people a sneak peek as well. And then also afterwards, training camp wrap-up presented by UPMC. That will start with Coach Tomlin's post-practice Zoom call is what I assume it will look like. And then we will do a quick recap with the news and notes of the day. There will be a poll report, so we'll be able to tell you from that what happened at practice, maybe who didn't practice and whatnot. So Labs will still keep pumping out content as well. Teresa Varley, Labs retweeted it, but wrote a great article just talking about the transformation that Heinz Field had to undergo to get ready for Steelers training camp. So we're ready to go, bring on some real football, but to Labs and Prisuta, thank you so much for joining me today, and we will see you guys next time from inside Heinz Field. So stay safe, everyone, and have a great day.